Breaking news from here in Washington. Both the Justice Department and the abortion pill manufacturer have now both appealed to the Supreme Court to temporarily block and then eventually, of course, they want to overturn the Texas ruling that invalidated the FDA's approval of a key abortion drug and severely restrict access to the pill. Joining me now is NBC senior legal correspondent Laura Jarrett, former U.S. Attorney Joyce Vance, Victoria DeFrancesco Soto, Dean of the Clinton School of Public Service at the University of Arkansas, and Susan Page, Washington Bureau Chief for USA Today. Welcome all. So, Laura, you are going through all of this, the Supreme Court's filing as well. Let's break it down. What happened today? Is it the immediate stay that they want before the Supreme Court takes the case, hears it, and eventually rules?
Yes, Andrea. So all eyes on the Supreme Court now, as they could act at any time now that this case lives at the Supreme Court with those Justice Department filings and also from the pill manufacturer Danco. And what they want is essentially the Supreme Court to press pause on everything, put a stay in order to allow the case to be heard, allow the justices to get some full briefing. And so they're asking for what's known as an administrative stay, which would essentially just maintain the status quo. But the justices don't have to do that. In fact, they don't have to do anything at all. And if they ignore this request from the Justice Department and the pill manufacturer, then at the stroke of midnight Central Time, the part of Judge Kaczmarek's order from last week that will go into effect has to do with a number of changes that the FDA made after 2016 that essentially made the drug easier to get. And so what will happen is you will see that part of his order go into effect. Now, what exactly that means in a practical sense is a little bit murky. The reason it's murky is in part because you have a different federal court in Washington state, same authority as Judge Kaczmarek, but it's a different order. And in that order, it tells the FDA to maintain the status quo. So the FDA and the Biden administration is saying, how can we maintain the status quo given what Washington is saying? While at the same time, we have another order in Texas telling us essentially to go back to the year 2000. And so because of that conflict, the Justice Department is pleading for the Supreme Court to get involved.
Now, Laura, let me just follow up with you. The Supreme Court might want to duck this entirely, potentially. But with these two conflicting orders, don't they have to do something in the next 24 hours?
It's entirely up to those justices to decide what they want to do. And we have seen them do nothing before. In the case of SB 8, a very highly restrictive abortion bill that was in Texas, essentially gave private citizens the right to sue. We all remember that. In that case, they did nothing. But by doing nothing, they are doing something in this case, as in that case, because by doing nothing, they let part of Judge Kaczmarek's order go through. And essentially, then all eyes will be on the Biden administration to say to the world, how are you going to enforce these two orders? Are you going to use your discretion to perhaps just not go after the drug companies? But it's just sort of a regulatory mess, and it's something that the Justice Department and the pill manufacturer are trying to highlight, pleading for, again, the Supreme Court to do something.
Breaking news out of the Supreme Court. NBC News senior legal correspondent Laura Jarrett is back with us. So, Laura, we predicted this about 20 minutes ago. Tell me what's happened.
All right. Well, the Supreme Court has now given the Justice Department and the manufacturer of Mifespristone what it had asked for, which was essentially to put on hold, on pause, that controversial ruling from last week out of Texas, where that judge had tried to roll back certain access to this widely used abortion pill. And so the court has granted what's known as an administrative stay, which, again, is just a placeholder, allowing a cooling off period of sorts. The Justice Alito here, who actually receives any appeals from the Fifth Circuit where this case derives from, ordering the plaintiffs in the case, a group of anti-abortion activists and doctors, to provide its response so it can hear its side as well, because only we've heard from the Justice Department and the pill manufacturer Danco. So Justice Alito writing here that is ordered that they have to respond to this in writing by Tuesday.
By Tuesday.
And so the administrative stay, the pause, will stay in effect until just before midnight on Wednesday.
So that means that if you go to the store right now, the drugstore, the pharmacy, and you try to get this pill across the country, in Texas, anywhere, you can still get it. If you want to get it in the mail, you can still get it right now.
As of this moment and through Wednesday, yes.
Through Wednesday.
Yes.
So they're going to file their motions, their papers by that time.
Yes.
What's the likelihood of the Supreme Court then making a ruling on this quickly, or might they just extend that stay so that they can deliberate on this for the rest of this session and maybe get back to us next June.
Yeah, it's hard to know exactly how they will want to do this and in what order they'll want to do it, but it makes sense that given the potential conflict that could have resulted, remember we talked about that Washington order that was still out there telling the FDA not to make any changes to how this drug gets distributed. Given that order and also this other order from Texas saying, oh, no, let's roll things back to the year 2000 when this drug was originally approved, given that conflict, it makes sense that they're going to put this on pause. But it's unclear how they'll come out, how the justices will come out on the merits of the case.
What's the question on standing? Has any court ruled on standing yet? The
Fifth Circuit did. And
what
the
did
Fifth
they say
Circuit
about
had a
that?
pretty striking, shall we say, analysis of standing in a way that I think a lot of people found curious. Because remember, the people who are bringing this lawsuit are not people who have taken mifepristone or said that they're harmed by mifepristone, not even doctors who prescribed mifepristone who said that they, had bad experiences with it.
It's an anti-abortion group saying that we don't like this pill.
Correct. And usually you have to show standing to come into court and bring a claim. You have to show some harm. And so the standing analysis from the Fifth Circuit, especially as it relates to what happens after 2016, which is, again, the FDA just loosening those restrictions, not even the original approval, as to what happens after 2016, being able to get it in the mail, it's not clear that this group has the standing to sue over that. And so, again, maybe that's another reason the Supreme Court wants to step in and get involved, but it doesn't have to.
Our senior investigative correspondent, Aaron Katursky. And Aaron, how will things unfold at that courthouse today?
George, Jackteixeira is due to make his initial appearance here in Boston federal court any moment now. The exact charges, we still don't know, but the FBI said he put national security at risk and betrayed his country. If ultimately Teixeira is charged under the Espionage Act, he could be facing decades in prison. Whatever he's initially charged with is unlikely, though, to fully depict the depth of his alleged crimes or the damage caused by leaking classified defense information online. That damage assessment is still underway. The Justice Department opened a criminal investigation last week, but investigators were still at Teixeira's house well into the night looking for evidence. They're also, George, trying to determine a motive. Was it glory-seeking or ego or something more sinister? And though he was arrested at his home here in Massachusetts, it's likely he's ultimately going to be prosecuted in Virginia because much of what was leaked belongs to the Pentagon, George.
Okay, Aaron.
It's a disaster for U.S. intelligence, this.
The FBI has arrested a suspect in the worst leak of secret U.S. intelligence documents in years.
You might have heard of this huge leak of classified U.S. intelligence that has somehow got itself onto the internet. It's very serious. Why? Well, there are a number of reasons. It shows that the US is spying not just on its adversaries, but also its friends.
The Secretary General has been at his job for quite some time. He's not surprised, I think, by the fact that people are spying on him.
It reveals to the Russians just how penetrated their own intelligence agencies have been.
We continue to work around the clock to better understand the scope, scale, and impact of these leaks.
And that's making countries that share information with the US think, do we really want to trust them? There is a real effect here, potentially, on the Ukraine war. Part of these classified documents shows just how low Ukraine is running in air defense munitions. If Ukraine's running out of those, Russia will unleash its air force, and that could change the entire course of the war.
Tonight, a snake scandal in Florida.
The ball is down. What? The ball. The pregnant ball. No! No! Oh my God, that guy's gonna flip out!
According to the United States Association of Reptile Keepers, or USARC, this video shows officers with the Florida Fish and Wildlife Conservation Commission accidentally killing a pet boa constrictor that was pregnant with up to $100,000 worth of other snakes. And when the officers realized their alleged mistake, disbelief. One officer immediately raising his hands to his head and appearing to mouth, "We messed up." And 20 minutes later, at least one officer heard admitting to the error.
Is there a way to maybe save the babies?
Oh no, dude, this guy's gonna go bananas. Oh my God, why?
It was a mistake.
The video was taken by snake breeder Chris Coffey, who U.S. ARC says legally owned reticulated and Burmese pythons until a ban in 2021.
I can't watch it. Those animals mean a lot to me. It's like watching someone kill my kids.
According to the agency, he was unable to rehome more than 30 of them, which after a lengthy court battle were killed by those FWC officers on April 6th.
My back was against the wall. There was nothing I can do.
Coffey told NBC Miami his snakes were being stored at a warehouse in West Palm Beach and claims he warned the officers not to kill the 10-year-old boa constrictor, which was legally owned.
A lot of people have them as pets, and they're just wonderful snakes. They're generally very friendly.
In a statement to NBC News about the incident, the FWC said, while complying with the facility's owner's request to euthanize the relinquished pythons, officers inadvertently euthanized a boa constrictor, which was not on the list of dozens of snakes relinquished. The FWC will examine if there are appropriate methods to avoid similar inadvertent events from occurring in the future. But U.S. ARC says the error is unacceptable.
They're not difficult to tell apart, and especially an officer empowered to kill animals should be able to identify them correctly before basically sentencing them to death.
Now that reptile owner without a pet he says he raised since she was a baby.
Fixed. You can't fix it. You just killed something that wasn't illegal.
Maya Eaglin, NBC News.